All right, peace. I've been gone for a minute, thinking of some things to talk about. We're going to go back to what it is that we've been talking about for the longest. And this is this Errol Spence debacle that we've been dealing with for it's finna be almost 4 or 5 years. Now, Errol Spence made the statement. He said that he's his own boss. He makes the plays, right? If Bud don't want to sign a 60-40 split, 70-30 split, then the fight is not happening. Went through different negotiations and things of this nature. Now, because Bud really don't have a major promoter, Bud did everything that these folks asked of him to do. Even though he is the better fighter and he has accomplished more in his career than Errol Spence Jr. Errol Spence Jr. has PBC, he has Fox News, he has a lot of these, he has Showtime, all these people that's behind him. And the man still hasn't signed the fight. But we just going back to his initial statement that he's been saying that he's the big fish, he makes all the plays. But here it is. He hasn't signed the fight yet, and we finna go into what we would call the month of October. The month of October. Bud Crawford, according to Bernie the boxer said that Bud a month ago he been signed uh, the terms of the contract. So Bud has been on board with everything that these folks has been asking him, even if he doesn't agree or he feel like he's getting the low ball of the stick. Bud is going for what you would call glory. He wants to be the undisputed 147-pound champion, and you have all these people that's in the way. You got a lot of the Spence fans. They don't want to give him his respect, and that's fine. And see, in the sense, I like it that way. It's because when a fighter is neglected, when he doesn't get, or any person, it don't even have to be a fighter. If a person is being beat down in life, you know what I'm saying? That's what keeps them hungry. See, Bud is hungry, man. He's hungry. He's more hungrier now at 35 than he was in his 20s because he wants to prove the world wrong that he's the man. See, and he's willing to put his zero, his reputation, and everything on the line. And then you got this guy, and I'm not taking nothing away from Spence. Spence is a good fighter in his own right. You know what I'm saying? He's a good fighter. But Spence would not sign this contract. And I believe that he's not signing the contract because of the instructions of PBC. So if Spence is not signing the contract, then that means that he's not the boss. He's not the boss that he's been lying to the people that he says he is. It's because if he's the boss and he makes all the plays, then why? Why is he not signing the contract? If he's his own boss, then this fight should have been taken place a long time ago. Everybody sitting up here making all these excuses, talking about now PBC is in the media talking about, well, we're not gonna make this fight if Bud is still messing with this Canahan guy. What difference does it make who Bud is dealing with? You know what I'm saying? We saying that Canahan is a crook. He's a drug dealer and all this type of stuff. You see Floyd Mayweather hanging out with drug dealers, ex gangbangers, but he's allowed to make hundreds of millions of dollars. 50 Cent was an ex gangbanger drug dealer that turned his life around. I love 50. That's my man. But I'm saying, why are we so hypocritical about who Bud does business with? We don't want to make the fight because of Canahan, but here it is. A lot of these promoters, a lot of these politicians, all of them are nothing but gangbangers. So why are we sitting around here making all these different excuses on why this fight is not being made? This is one of the greatest fights that can be made for history. And I'm not saying that Bud just gonna come up in there and beat this guy up. To me, it's a 50-50 fight, but I'm going with Bud. See, I think that Bud is the better fighter, and I think he has enough. I think he just has a little bit in the toolbox to beat this guy. And another reason, it's a couple of reasons why I think that this fight is not being made. One of the reasons is because I believe that PBC doesn't have the confidence in their fighters to put them in against A-level competition. A-level competition. That means that a person that's on the same level as them. This is the same situation with Tank Davis. Tank Davis is one of the uh, phenomenal talents that's at 135 pounds. The man been fighting for it's going to be 10 years. He's been a professional and he has never been in a ring with an A-level fighter. But here it is, the boxing fans, and I'm not hating on the brother. Get your money, but the boxing fans support this type of stuff. We got Lomachenko. We got Devin Haney. Now Shakur Stevenson is finna move up to 135 pounds, right? Tank Davis has never been in the ring with an A-level fighter in almost 10 years of him being a professional fighter. What does that tell you? That tells you it's either he's scared or the promoters are scared. Shout out to Bushido Boxing and a lot of the boxing podcasters that put a lot of pressure on a lot of these fans and these boxers. It's because what they're doing is they're robbing the fans. They want to make these low level fights. They want the A level fighter to fight against the B fighters all the time, and it's a strong possibility that he's going to win, right? It may look good in the ring, but we know what the outcome is going to be. The A level fighter is going to win unless it's a major upset. They're not putting on shows that's going to uh, be 50-50, so to speak. They've been doing it for years. I'm talking about PBC. So one of the reasons, and then another reason why we can't get the fight is because I've been saying this for the longest. Bud Crawford doesn't want to sign with PBC, and PBC has a lot to lose in this scenario. If Bud beats Spence, then Bud will be able to walk away with those belts. See, they can't have that. If he wants to beat their fighter, he has to sign with them. He doesn't want to sign with them, and it's a possibility. That's why he just went on and took the Lord the lower amount of the money. Okay, I won't sign with you, but I'll take the 60-30 or 70-40 split or whatever you go. I'll take the low money, but I'm not signing with y'all. See, I'm gonna carve out my own legacy. I'm not going to allow y'all to sit around here and dictate what I should be doing. I have a goal. I want to fight Errol Spence Jr. and I want to fight Mel Charlo. That's the goal. They don't want this guy to fight Mel or Spence. It's because they're not really going to be able to control the situation. See, this is what's going on. This is why we can't get the fight. And this what shows you, see, this is the tomfoolery of boxing. You got a lot of these so-called great fighters that supposed to be the gorillas, lions and tigers and bears, but they don't want to get in there and fight each other. And here it is, you got a guy that's willing to sacrifice everything to go out there and fight against the best. Shout out to Devin Haney. But he can't get the fights, man. He can't get the fights. And see, this is what's wrong with boxing. This is what's wrong with boxing. And I think uh to Tank Davis credit, I think that's one of the reasons why his career is kind of flimsy a little bit. Yeah, he's making all the money and stuff like that, but he has no legacy. Boxing, sports is about legacy. It's not necessarily about money. Money is just money is just the sweetness of the sport. But it's about legacy. It's about breaking records. It's about supremacy. See, it's about breaking records and being supreme over other fighters in different divisions. That's what sports is about. When Michael Jordan, Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, all the rest of these people, when they retire from the sport, they're not viewed on how much money they make. They talk about that afterwards if they're still relevant in the sport. If they become philanthropists and things of this nature, if they know how to do business outside of boxing, then we can say, well, hey, they billionaires, they this that they still relevant. But in sports, it's not about money. It's about legacy. And these guys are not allowed to carve out their legacy is because of why? Because of the promoters. So my question to the boxing fans that support Errol Spence, if Errol Spence is the A side, right? If he's his own boss, then why hasn't he signed the contract? So with that being said, peace.